Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Welcome dear students. This is a video for the subject of education for the course of Bachelor's in Education and for the paper of Educational Technology. This video lecture is based on teaching learning strategies and materials and is going to discuss about the virtual classrooms. This video lecture is recorded by Dr. Iram Khan. The course coordinator and the presenter of this video is Dr. Iram Khan from Jamia Millia Islamia, New Delhi. The academic expert or the reviewer of this video is Professor Jasim Ahmed from Jamia Millia Islamia, New Delhi. This video is produced under the project DTH Swayam Prabha Channels of Ministry of Education, Government of India. Hello my dear students, I am Dr. Iram Khan, Assistant Professor at Institute of Advanced Studies in Education, Faculty of Education, Jamia Millia Islamia, New Delhi. Today we are going to have a discussion on teaching learning strategies and materials, and in this topic we will be discussing about the virtual classrooms or the virtual way of learning. Let us start the discussion first with the objectives. The objectives of this session are to discuss the meaning and definition of virtual classrooms, to describe the operation or working of a virtual classroom, and to elaborate the advantages and drawbacks of the virtual classroom. First, we have to see that what exactly we mean by a virtual classroom. We have discussed a lot of things related to e-learning and also a lot of things related to online learning. Basically, e-learning, which is characterized as the learning which is devoid of time and space and carried out through the advanced technologies which involve multimedia, internet, emailing, various uses of websites, smartphones, or further many devices. And this type of learning may prove a very kind of useful and effective tool and a technique for rendering valuable support, assistance, and alternative to the traditional system of school education. And we all know that how supportive it has been in the situation when we were not having any other option of our traditional system, and in the situations where when all the schools were closed and the system was bound to go online, the system of e-learning helped us a lot to continue the education of our children. Now the question here may arise that whether or not it has the power and ability to replace partially or totally the traditional mode of classroom instruction or the system of school education. This is a kind of tussle which is always there, which was always there, and it is going to remain, that whether the online situation or the e-learning is going to take the place of the traditional system of education, the traditional teacher, and the traditional classroom. But what I feel as a teacher, that it is not going to take the place, but still a lot of people think of. And this particular debate is going to be there. Apparently, we can say that to certain extent it is correct, and to certain extent it is not correct. E-learning or even the mobile learning, which is dominated by web-based learning, cannot rival the conventional classroom teaching or school education for some very obvious reasons. We can see that the interaction which happens between a teacher and the student in the real time, in the offline situations, that type of interaction is difficult to happen in the online situation. Here we seldom find a true reflection of the lively environment of the real activities going inside the classroom in the form of interaction among the students as well as between the students and the teacher. It also lacks the true depth that an instant face-to-face real dialogue can provide. That spontaneous behavior, the spontaneity of the conversation, somehow we can find lacking in the online system. And it is that is why the need of the organization of a virtual classroom system actually arises, because it can be very helpful and useful for actually making this e-learning, the passiveness of the e-learning, to become very alive. It can help the weakness which the e-learning system is having, that live interactions are missing. The live interactions, the web-based learning, and the live chats, which can make the classroom very lively, they are somehow missing. If a online course is prepared beforehand, the entire method, material, everything is provided, but the real time interactions are missing, then there will be somehow a passive way of learning which we are providing. So it is very much, you can say, passive, and cannot compete with the offline system of education. But if we are providing a virtual classroom kind of situation where the teacher is sitting at her own end and the students at their own ends, and they can interact whenever it is required, the interaction can happen in real time. So those type of systems are going to have all those loose points, actually all those gaps filled. So let us see that how these virtual classrooms are little bit different from the e-learning system, and how they are better, how they can be the substitute, and even a better substitute of uh, the online situations, where we can make the classes, our online classes, much more lively and much more comparable to the offline situations. So, as the name suggests, virtual classrooms are the classrooms functioning in a system of virtual reality. So these are in fact the cyber classrooms, where the teacher and the students can converse in real time. In every sense, a virtual classroom tries to stimulate or simulate in every way which is possible, and the learning platform which is provided by a conventional classroom can be reincarnated, or can be actually established, it can be created here in the virtual classroom also. And as if we try to make a definition of virtual classrooms, we can make it in this way, that the virtual classroom as the classrooms capable of replacing partially or totally the conventional education or educational, evaluative, and administrative functioning of a regular classroom by adopting the advanced computer and ICT technologies like the internet, email, online chatting, the exploring of the World Wide Web, then all those type of storage devices, teleconferencing, and video conferencing. So what we do in this virtual classroom, we try to make an amalgamation of the services of all these, and we try to create a classroom which is very much uh, comparable to the conventional educational system, where even the live chatting and live interactions are possible. And this is possible just because of the amalgamation, or by the usage of all those ICT-led technologies, which are helpful for us to make a class very much lively and interactive. So let us see that what exactly is the way in which the virtual classrooms act. So virtual classrooms stand for bringing various types of school and school run courses and the classroom activities at the doorstep of the students for being accessed by utilizing the advanced computer and ICT technologies at the end of that particular student itself. So it brings the entire system to the doorstep of the student. The operation and the working of the virtual classroom system can be seen in a step-by-step way. Let us try to see what exactly will be the steps or the basic operations which are done to run a virtual classroom. The first point is that the basic operation of a system of this virtual classroom may allow the subject experts or the teachers, and in this case we can say the experienced teachers will be more uh, eligible, or you can say will be more having more ease to run a virtual classroom. So we can call for experienced teachers to deliver instructions on one or the other topic of the school curriculum of any of the classes. So these may be either telecast live with the help of a satellite-based teleconferencing, as you must have seen happening in the NCERT. NCERT takes help for this live telecasting or teleconferencing through the satellites, which are considered to be educational satellites. So EduSat is used by NCERT, and what they do, they run the course-based live telecasts or programs, which are live phone-in programs, and they are very much helpful for the students as well the teachers. So that is the first basic step. You can say that one form of virtual classroom, because here in this 1 hour when the telecast or the teleconferencing is happening, the video conferencing is happening, there is an opportunity of all those viewers. It is with all the viewers that they can ask for questions live. So whatever questions they will ask, the expert who is delivering the session on that particular topic will be providing answers spontaneously, and the topics which are to be dealt in that particular session on that date and time, everything is floated, everything is scheduled beforehand, and this schedule is already provided on the website. So the students and the teachers are aware of that what will be the topic which is going to be taken up by the experts on so and so date and so time. So on the basis of that previous information, they can go for having more and more queries. They can collect their queries, and once the lecture or the session is going on at the particular time when there is the discussion which is based on that particular point on which they wish to ask the question, they can ask the question, and the teacher or the expert will be answering the question right away at the same time. So that is the basic operational step in which we can see a virtual classroom happening. In another mode, the study materials which are prepared by the experts and the experienced teachers can be uploaded on the website of a virtual classroom or a virtual campus, and the students are allowed to download the text and all those graphic material for their study by issuing a confidential password to the students who are registered with the class or the campus. And this type of campus-based virtual classroom happens in many universities. They have got their own intranet, they have got their own networking, which is named by a certain name, and where all the students who are the part of the university or the course are registered, and they all are given with some certain IDs and the passwords, and even the attendance of the students of joining to the class every day is registered, and whatever student is doing whatever activity, downloading or uploading the assignments, everything is registered. And this virtual classroom provides a lot of opportunity to the students to question the teacher, like to make questions, queries to the teacher, and also the teacher will be in a position to actually provide cues and much more assistance to the students, because every single person, the teacher and the student, is here on the platform, on this virtual platform, which is very much in-house. The networking is in-house, and every single person is the part of this networking. So this is another way in which you can create a classroom and can run a classroom. In many universities in our country and in abroad, most of the universities run that like that only, but in our country also you can find a lot of universities who are basically using this particular style of virtual classrooms, and it is proving to be very useful for them. Then what can be the other possibilities? It is also possible on the part of the institutions to provide certain material in devices. Like materials can be provided in DVDs or in pen drives or in hard disk. That is also possible. Even you can find a lot of schools and institutions who provide tablets or devices to the students, and these devices are having like all content loaded into them previously. So this course content and the instructional guidance, which is actually loaded uh, beforehand, can be accessed by the students through like with the device which they are having. If they are having the content in a pen drive or in a hard disk or in a DVD, then they require their own laptops or their computers. But if it is there in the tablet which is provided by the institution, or in their in any other form, or maybe in these smartphones, then they have to access the material through that particular device. And in such type of supplied learning material, the teacher and the school authorities also try to send the support material, the reference material, and the supplement in the form of frequently asked questions, which are very helpful for the students in grasping and solving the problems which can come through or pop up while they are going through the material. So this related problem set is already thought of by the teachers, and they have answered those in the form of frequently asked questions. So this type of uh, management of a virtual classroom is also possible, where the content is provided through a device or through a system to the students beforehand, and that learning material which is supplied to them is accessed by the students frequently and every now and then, and they can be using it for their teaching learning process. Then what next can be done? There may be a number of appropriate options which are available to the students for interacting with the teachers and also with their colleagues, with their peer group. And how it is possible? It can be done through online chatting, emailing, and email groups can be created, or even audio conferencing and video conferencing is also permitted by the organizational system of a virtual classroom or the virtual campus. The teachers may also make use of these interaction opportunities for seeking active participation of the students in the instructional process, asking questions for testing their comprehension and evaluating their progress, besides giving them freedom for removing their doubts and all their thirst for the knowledge. We can quench their thirst for knowledge by providing them the answers to all those questions which come up to their minds. Whenever the questions come up, we can connect, the students can connect to the teachers, and the teachers can give their answers. So live chatting and live interactions are also possible. And this is happening just because of the advent of internet and by the use of technology, which is integrated to the systems, to the virtual classroom setup. A virtual classroom system can go for evolving its own system for assigning practical work or the projects or different type of assignments, questions, problems for the reinforcement of students, for fixing and evaluating the progress of the students. And all these practical work, projects, the assignments can be uploaded, and the needed material which is required for the for solving all those like questions and completing the assignments, the practical work can also be uploaded on the website. So while uploading the assignments, the teacher can upload the material which is required to take up that particular assignment also. For this purpose, all the regular interval, at regular intervals, the teachers provide the assignments and the students are supposed to check their um, classroom, and that particular assignment is given, which is to be completed by some schedule is also given, that by so and so date they have to complete this assignment. And whatever are the requirements, if they are supposed to answer the questions or make the assignment in suppose 500 words, or they have to create a small PPT or maybe a small movie kind of thing, every single instruction is given by the teacher in that set of assignments. Like there are sections where you can give the instructions, so you have to give the title of the assignment or the project, you have to give the all those details, that what exactly is to be done, and you also have to give, as a teacher you have to give the last date by when they have to submit the assignment. So every single information is provided to them, and once you assign the work to the students, all the students who are the part of this virtual classroom will automatically get one notification on their mails that now this particular task is assigned to them. So they have to come to the classroom and they have to see that what exactly is the assignment which is given by the teacher to them, and by this date they have to complete this assignment. And if the teacher is willing, the teacher can also uh, adjust certain reminders, that reminders, and if the teacher is willing to show the students the rubric, that how the assessment is going to take place, what is the criteria for assessment of their project, that is also possible. That in that section of rubrics, the teacher can make a kind of assessment parameter or assessment rules, which the teacher is going to use while checking the assignment and giving the feedback or the evaluation grades to the student. So what happens, like once the teacher has the students have completed their assignment, they will submit it, and afterwards the teacher is going to make an evaluation. So the evaluation sheets will also be can be seen by the students, and if you are assigning some grades or marks, they can even come to see, and they can even get the feedback from that particular virtual place. So it becomes a very transparent system, uh, which is used by a lot of teachers for that formative assessment and even for summative things. So it is up to the teacher that whether she is in a mood to show the entire checking details or the entire evaluation marks or not. So it is up to the teacher. So every single opportunity is placed here in this virtual classroom, and as per need the teacher can use those facilities. Then this system also takes care of the other essential administrative and managerial requirements of the students who are enrolled in the system, like their online admission, information on the web about the type of courses and instructional programs available with the campus, with the different school campuses, information about the modes and technologies which are available, then online provisions for the tutorial, the needed feedback, even the guidance and evaluation for the academic progress of the students. It also provides grading of the students and their achievement sets. information about the scores and grades and providing the students their certificates and degrees, including the online convocations. These are also happening nowadays, and it is becoming very popular because now physical interaction is becoming difficult. So even people are going for those online convocations where the degrees are awarded and certificates are awarded to the students. So everything can be done in today's time with the help of this virtual facilities which we have got nowadays. Let us now discuss some of the advantages of the virtual classroom. So the virtual classrooms have some very unique advantages of providing the two-dimensional benefits to the learners. The first one is comprising the time and space, relaxed opportunities of learning, and the other factor which is unique is involving classroom encounters in the proper virtual reality, which provides immense possibilities to the students. So let us see one by one that what can be the advantages which can listed to be the best things of or best features of the virtual classrooms. The first thing which can be discussed here that virtual classrooms provided a great amount of flexibility to the learners in getting the desired learning experiences at the time and place along with the pace of their own choice. If a student is in a hurry and maybe a student is a gifted one, the student can go ahead and complete the task in a very fast pace. And at the same time, even the slow learner or a mediocre child can also can go with his or her own pace. So it is not something which is very much monotonous or can only be in a very kind of desired pace. It can be made accordingly as you want to pace it. So this is the first advantage. And learners have not to present themselves for their pursuit of instructional course at a fixed time and place. So it comes, it becomes basically easier for handling the situations. It does not come in their way of doing a job or engaging in other learning pursuits simultaneously at a time. So even those who are doing some sort of jobs and they are also willing to continue their education with this virtual classroom thing, they can actually do both at the same time and without hampering any of those. The facilities regarding receiving instructions or gaining the learning experiences are available to the learners throughout the day for 24 into 7. It cannot be imagined in any other system of regular classroom setup, and that is why it is quite capable of allowing the learners better utilization of their leisure time without hampering their day-to-day routine. So as like if somebody is not well and during daytime he or she has not found time and the person is feeling like good and is now uh, willing to study, and right now the time is 3 a.m. In the night, that time is also, if the it is suited to the learner, the that learner can come to the virtual classroom and study. So this is the ease of this virtual classroom. The system of virtual classroom is quite capable of providing the services of the most experienced and capable faculty belonging to any stream and discipline of the school curriculum, which is mostly denied or which remains impractical in the conventional educational setup. In place of searching for the employing full-time or like getting a full-time faculty, which is at times becomes difficult for the administration. The administration can hire the best faculty on a part-time basis in the system of virtual campus. And it proves to be more suitable and economical for running a number of high quality, interdisciplinary, and innovative courses for the benefit of the learners of varied interest and requirement. If you see it in a different way, suppose we have got an excellent teacher of biochemistry who is teaching in Oxford University. It is difficult to, if we expect that this teacher will leave the university and come to our university to teach the students to get a job in our university. But if we request that teacher to take some guest lectures and come for that particular schedule to our to teach our students in this virtual platform, there is a possibility that that excellent teacher agrees, and if he or she agrees, it will be the best thing to happen for my students, those students who are in my university and are willing to study with this best teacher. So this type of opportunity is possible only in the case of a virtual classroom or a virtual campus. So this is another advantage. The next advantage can be that the system of this virtual classroom is very much capable of providing the learners the joy and benefit of the real-time learning through the utilization of the most advanced technologies at their own disposal on the part of teachers as well as the learners in the form of different like different devices. They can place that particular technology and give it to the students online through chatting, through mobile phones, even through any of those DVDs or pen drives. So the things can be given to them, and how to use them can be accounted to them, can be conversed to them through the audio conferencing or video conferencing. So this is also something which is very useful, and there is no any fear of criticism, or at times students don't ask questions in the classroom because they think that maybe they will be ridiculed by the other colleagues or the teacher. But in this system of virtual classroom, it also attempts, like the students who are maybe in the offline situation are not able to ask questions, they also try to attempt asking questions or even writing the questions, and for them also it becomes a kind of advantage. There are more possibilities of engaging in the useful practice, and there will be less opportunity of negative criticism. And creative and adventurous pursuits in the knowledge and skill areas of the school learning on the part of the students in the virtual setup is very much possible because the time will be used in a better way. The system of virtual classrooms may provide very much advantageous situations to the students on account of its online features related to admission, information about the courses, academic activities, assignments and projects, then the tests and evaluation, grading and results, then the availability of the faculty and, and interactions with the other faculty members, the guest faculty members, guidance, and whenever they need their some special type of help, information about the commencement of the examinations, the public examinations, all those schemes, scholarship schemes or merit scholarship schemes, entry in the vocational and professional streams. So these type of information can also be provided. The students can get all these informations on regular basis in that sections. There can be sections which are created for all those information, and because the students are coming regularly to the virtual classroom, so will be they will be very much updated and they can get all these information readily. Then the virtual classrooms save the valuable energy of the faculty and administrative authorities that is otherwise going to be spent in the conventional school setup for the day-to-day administrative and management of the affairs, like the maintenance of the school discipline, school timetable, attendance, and also the regularity and the related issues punctuality of the students and the staff. Because if we are willing to take the attendance, it is just a click away. There are systems where automatically the attendance is recorded. For discipline also, there are a lot of features. So we can make by just one click we can mute the students to whom we are we feel that they will be nuisance or they are disturbing the class. We can manage those students in a very better way just by certain clicks. So that type of issues never arrive or can be handled easily. Organization of the student welfare activities, handling of mutual conflicts and ego problems of the students and the staff, all these type of things which are very much human. And in the offline situations, we were dealing with them on the regular basis. Those things are not, they will never come in the way in this online situations because things can be mechanically managed. So we can say that that is a kind of advantage. So after the advantages, let us see a few of those drawbacks and limitations which the system of virtual classroom is encompassing. So we can always see that whatever things are having advantages, those things can also have certain loopholes or certain limitations, and so is the virtual classroom. It is also having certain limitations and drawbacks. Let us see what can be those. So the first which I can discuss here is that the flexibility of the system of virtual classroom, uh, which is provided to the learners for taking their studies at their own will, their own convenience, comfort, and adjustment of the space and timing according to their needs, may be misused and misdirected on the part of the students at times, especially when they are young in age and are not mature enough to feel their responsibilities for the building up of their career or their future. Maybe they can laze out in the morning if there is a class or if they want to take up some virtual classroom is going to happen, and because they have got some lazy morning and that is why they don't go to the class at that particular time and they miss the class because they don't understand that particular importance. So that is also something which can be seen here in the virtual classroom setup. In many of the cases, the organization and the working of a virtual classroom or a campus is found a little bit of hopeless in terms of its quality of study material and its delivery to the students. The staff employed for providing the instructional material, guidance, and timely feedback is also at times of very poor quality. And the devotion to the work is also lacking or is less. And in such type of situation, the students who are enrolled with the system are bound to suffer adversely, and because the material which is provided to them is of bad quality and they are not in a position to say this to anybody. So they will suffer. So such type of of all those incidents may give a bad name to in general to the virtual classroom system. What happens? A generalization of bad things happen, and the students who are experiencing a bad type of material or a system in one course, they might make it somewhere in their minds that maybe all the virtual classrooms are at the same time. So it can be a bad impression making thing. Then the dreams and the promises of providing the real classroom experience through the virtual realities of the virtual classroom system are somehow hard to realize. I agree with this point. It is difficult, like in many cases, virtual cannot be turned into real in totality. We cannot provide real-time face-to-face interactive experiences to our students through the virtual classroom. These students are willing to get some type of face-to-face exchange, verbal, non-verbal clues for the lively classroom interaction and effective classroom discussions in a system of virtual classroom. This is something which is a big question, whether it is possible in a virtual classroom. The warmth of the teacher, the relationship which is present between the teacher and the pupil, the charm of the group cohesion and fellow feeling, and the humanistic touch which is prevailed in the social and emotional climate of the conventional classroom, all together can be found to be absent in the virtual classroom system. In such a situation, we cannot expect a extraordinary environment for the academic and personal growth of the students. So this is a point which is always seen to be a limitation of a virtual classroom. Then we aim to develop a wholesome personality of the student with whatever we teach and whatever we do for the student in our schools, in our colleges. Along with the curricular instructional work, the organization of different type of co-curricular activities, different type of social welfare activities, student welfare activities, community activities, interaction with the parents and the members of the community, with different section of society, skilled people, they come and interact with the students in the actual school environment. All these things help the conventional system of learning a lot in seeking the all-round balanced development of the child. But here in this virtual system or virtual classroom, such type of things are completely or to certain extent they are lacking. Here you will be finding it very difficult to actually make all those things very much alive in the same way as you can do in a actual classroom situation. So this is again a very important limitation. So therefore, in the absence of the needed humanistic touch, the socio-cultural environment and the activities to promote social and moral values and opportunities for building the physical, social, and emotional competence, the system of virtual classroom is considered to be incapable of turning our youngsters into a perfect human being who are sensitive to moral values and the feeling of mutual brotherhood, peer group feeling, or uh, that we feeling which we can enshrine in them in the actual classroom scenario. So this is something that humanistic touch, that personal touch can be find missing to certain extent in the virtual classroom setup. But what exactly can be seen that in spite of the all those shortcomings and the limitations which we have just pointed out, virtual classrooms can solve many problems. And the problems which come in the way of realizing our a lot of obligations towards our younger generation, where we are striving for providing education to all and ensuring the quality instruction to our entire population, and also to their own doorsteps according to their needs and their convenience. The virtual classroom provides us the opportunity to cater to a larger audience. It can also open a new vista to many of our adolescents and youth for venturing into the new areas and fields of employment and entrepreneurship which is needed today. That is why there is a great need of the promotion of the virtual classrooms along with the formal setup of real classrooms. And it has it has been a lifesaver in the homebound situation where we were all left in because of the pandemic. We have seen the virtual classrooms where they were all very much useful for us. We as a teacher were in a position to save the time and the energy of our students and even ours by the help of these virtual classrooms. Although there were certain things which were missing, that personal and humanistic touch and all those things, but still it helped us all to take up the regular practices in a better way. We were in a position to lose lose all those problematic points at their own ends and go ahead with completing the classes. The scheduled curriculum was we were in a position to complete that, and that it was just because of the virtual systems, the online classrooms, which we managed to organize in that scenario. So now we have reached to the end of this lecture based on the virtual classroom. Let us try to sum up whatever we have studied. We have seen that the term virtual classroom, which refers to the classrooms which are capable of replacing partially or totally the conventional educational system, the evaluative and the administrative functioning of a regular classroom by adopting the advanced computing and ICT technologies, which include the internet, emailing services, the online chatting, the exploring of the World Wide Web, all those devices like all those DVDs, hard disks, pen drives, and all, teleconferencing and the video conferencing, and many more type of advanced ICT technologies. Then the virtual classroom system, in order to bring various types of school courses and the classroom activities at the doorsteps of the students, may adopt a variety of means and modes. We have seen in this lecture that what exactly can be the varieties and modes. So the first, which we discussed, is the telecast of the live lectures or the live instructions, which are delivered by the subject experts or experienced teachers on one or the other topic of the school curriculum, where the students who are attending the lecture, live lecture, can ask the questions and the students will get their answers spontaneously. Then we have seen that we can even upload the study material prepared by the experts and experienced teachers on the websites, which can be the other way. Then the next way can be that providing the students the essential material, the course content, through the DVDs or CDs or pen drives, and then the instructional guidance for the independent learning through different means can also be a way of providing virtual classrooms, and arranging for the desired interaction among the teachers and the students through online chatting or email groups or audio and video conferencing can also be another way. Then the next way can be evolving its own system for assigning practical work, then the projects and problems for reinforcing, fixing and evaluating the progress of the students by making use of the web facilities and the internet can be the another way of dealing with this, the virtual classroom. We saw that a lot of things which are related to virtual classrooms we have discussed. So what exactly can be the advantages and the merits? So we saw it here in this lecture that there are a lot of merits with the virtual classroom, like providing flexibility to the learner in terms of time, pace, and distance, not coming in their way of doing a job or engaging in other learning pursuits simultaneously at the same time, then opening its door for the desired learning to the learners during 24/7, providing the services of the most experienced and capable faculty belonging to any stream and discipline of the school curriculum or the college curriculum, providing the learners for joy and benefit of the real-time learning, doing away the fear of criticism or snobbery or the criticism which is negative by the teachers or the colleagues or the peer group members, saving the learners from the difficulties faced in their encounters related to a variety of administrative and evaluative work, and providing a valuable asset in the managing of the school's administrative and instructional programs with utmost efficiency in the cost-effective way. So these are all those advantages which we can see in the virtual classroom system. In spite of all these advantages, there are certain limitations and loopholes which can be seen in the virtual classroom, like possibilities of misutilization, misdirection of the freedom and flexibility provided in the system by the learners, and possibility of being the organization and working of a virtual classroom quite hopeless in terms of the quality and delivery of its instruction to the students. Efficiency and limitations relating to its inability to provide real-time face-to-face interactive experiences to the students, which is very much possible in the real-time situation, but not much possible in the virtual classroom. And also its inability to help the students in the development of their all-round personality, in the development of a wholesome human being, because the humanistic touch is missing. Somehow the teacher-student relationship, that humanistic warmth and feelings are and emotions are somehow not very much seen in the virtual classrooms. So these are some of those limitations which we can see to be there in the virtual classrooms. But we can say with a very determined voice that despite of all these shortcomings, there are lots and lots of advantages, and that is why these virtual classrooms have become the lifesavers in the pandemic time for teachers and students as well. And they have provided a leash of life for us to save the time and the energy of we the teachers and our students. These are few of those references and the suggested links which were used while developing this lecture. You can also go ahead and study more. So for now, this much is from my side. Let us see each other in another session, another time. Keep studying and enjoying your learning process. Thank you so much. Dear students, we were watching a video on teaching learning strategies and materials, and in this lecture we discussed about the virtual classrooms. This video lecture was recorded by faculty at home during the homebound situation of COVID-19 pandemic using minimal technical resources. Technical errors, if any, are unintentional and may please be ignored. For any queries with regard to this lecture or broadcast, kindly send your email to techsupport@dth.ac.in. Thank you so much.